Oh, coming at you live.
Coming at you live. Audio test. All right, yeah. Andrew King here, editor-in-chief, Canadian musician. Welcome to CMLive. We are at the 25th edition of the Halifax Pop Explosion. Beside me, Liam Cormier of Cancer Bats / Bat Sabbath.
We're here.
We're here.
We're hanging out.
What's more punk rock than a fake plant?
Is it fake? No way, dog. That's real. That is real.
Organic.
That's Mother Nature just tripping us out.
Jeez, I was quick to judge. Sorry, Delta. Bringing down the value here. Yeah, let's. Well, I tell you what. We'll focus on Bat Sabbath stuff here, but
we can focus. Bat Sabbath is the main purpose of our tour.
Exactly.
So yeah.
So let's push it. But start us off first in Cancer Bat's world. Searching for Zero was 2014. Where are you guys at as far as album cycle, writing, recording?
I guess this is technically, way end of the cycle, and that's usually where we save kind of the Bat Sabbath to kind of fill that gap. So when we're kind of writing, we're especially looking for that inspiration of writing a new record. What's going to get you more pumped than playing Black Sabbath covers for a bunch of diehard Cancer Bats fans and partying with a bunch of old bikers. So we're just doing this across the country, all over the UK, all over Europe, and getting fired up. Slowly writing new material.
New Bat stuff. Well,
chipping away.
I hope I'm not grasping at straws, but if I'm not mistaken, you guys were doing the Bat Sabbath thing, that preceded Searching for Zero.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, that record, we've talked about it before, but I mean, you work with Ross Robinson, had a very, live off the floor, really meaty presentation, production to it, which I really loved. Is it fair to say, has really immersing yourself into the Sabbath catalog and going back to that, I think fair to say, kind of true essence of heavy rock and roll? Do you find that kind of creeping in then to what you guys do when you go back to
for sure.
Batsland?
Yeah, and I think especially just having really learned under the masters, I think of that as being okay, this is how song structure can work, but also at the same time you're you have crazy songs that don't need to adhere to any of that. You don't need to, always be repeating parts. Amazing parts in Iron Man, amazing parts in Paranoid. They only happen once. The sing-along only happens once in both of those songs. But it's that's killer.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just well, these guys made the rules. And it's they were already breaking them, probably rejecting other song structures that they were kind of over. So it's kind of nice to, instead of always being looking at verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, it's just let's do whatever, and trying to push a lot of those musical ideas too. I think where I can kind of be more comfortable to just headbang and party a little bit. So it's why we don't need me to sing over this. Why don't we just have Scob, shred on guitar, or Jay solo on bass, or Mikey just play drum. You know what I mean? All of those ideas, because I feel all of us are, comfortable enough and have now kind of pushed ourselves as musicians. So it's oh, I get it. Tony Iommi could shred over the whole song, but he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So it's learning those kind of tricks from the bad boys.
So that begs the question, because I grew up reading Guitar Player magazine, and once a year there was something on Tony in there, right? Mm-hmm. And I've got to think same with Bill, Geezer, obviously Ozzy, from the main rock and roll instruments through to vocals. The four members of this band are heroes to a lot of people. So where I'm going with this is, who do you think has the most fun embodying the Sabbath stuff and just really sinking their teeth into that of the four of you guys?
Oh, in the band?
Yeah, just who do you think's got the biggest smile on their face from night to night playing these licks and this is what
I feel for me, I kind of have the easiest job.
Maybe,
not to take away from Ozzy, but there is a lot of times where I'm just goofing around and I get to headbang in a cape and just run all over the place.
In a cape.
So everyone else is trying to really focus and make sure they nail the parts, and I'm literally playing air bass with Jay. So I would say I'm having the most fun because I'm really not as concerned. In Fairies Wear Boots, Fairies is literally one of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
I love playing it. I put the mic on the mic stand and dance for half of that song, and that's part of why I really like it, because I'm just oh, you guys don't even need me. I'm just setting a vibe here.
The eternal frontman.
So new Cancer Bats, way more vibe setting. Less singing, more dancing.
Yeah, so we want to talk about this tour. I guess a place to start, like, I am embarrassed at how long it took me to realize this, but Dead Heavens that are playing some shows with you.
Oh yeah,
on this
they're
run.
phenomenal.
Like Walter, Rival Schools, Quicksand. That's crazy.
Drummers from Youth of Today, like, yeah, it's like OG.
And they're opening for you.
OG New York dudes. Well, because it's a new band. But also, I'll say, like, you know, as inspiring as it is to, like, look at a career like Black Sabbath, like, to hang out with someone like Walter Streifels, who is literally, he's, like, the most humble, like, raddest dude ever. He's, like, responsible for some of, like, the most influential bands. And he's just, like, so mellow, shredding on a guitar, hanging out backstage. Like, he's the dude. And you're just like, okay, this is like new goals. Like, I just need a Walter Scheifel in my life and just be like so chill. Like, that's all I care about.
How much influence do you have in who would be joining you for this run? And I guess I'd be curious about putting together a lineup centered around the fact that, you know, the headlining set's going to be Sabbath tunes.
Yeah, I mean, somebody like Dead Heavens totally works. The fact that this was a festival also, it was kind of like, well, we're going to have a bunch of downtime, so it's like we can't really bring a band. Like, I would have loved if, like, Heart Attack Kids, you know, could have come on this whole tour because they rip and they're going to be out here, but it just, like, didn't work out. And then also Mikey and Jay are doing Julie Durand and the Wrong Guys.
Oh.
So that's also happening
they're
too.
They're playing in Julie's band?
Yeah. So they're the, like, backup. They're the Wrong Guys. And Eamon McGrath, like, plays guitar, which is, like, the sickest.
Wow.
So on any of the Bat Sabbath days off, like, Julie, like, they played last night with Japandroids. They played in Sackville on our day off. So then Dead Heavens were on, like, those shows.
Okay.
To also kind of, like, balance it out. So that worked. So Dead Heavens totally at home with Julie and the Wrong Guys, but also works with, like, Bat Sabbath. It's like such a killer combo. But yeah, everybody needs to check out that band. It's like, they're so sick.
Well, and then shout out to Julie too, because I just got my hand on Jason Murray's book about Eric's trip, which I'm stoked to read. That's just a plug, because I was just talking about it.
We're plugging everything.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Talking music. Yeah, I'm curious too about, you guys are perennial road warriors. I mean, come on, you hit the road hard.
I like that term, though.
Perennial road warriors. All right. You can coin that, I guess. And especially now with the two projects, like that, there are formal Bat Sabbath tours, and then you go out with the Bats to support records and everything. I mean, you've done the cross-country trip, suffice to say, a lot.
We've ripped Highway 1.
Yeah, how do you feel about the current state of, I guess we can just call it, heavy music across the country? I mean, when you guys started and came up, it was, you know, Bats and, like, Alexis on Fire, Monine were getting plays on Much Music.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
wonder about these scenes and kind of what you're seeing when you go market to market. Different times, I guess, but at the same time, I'm stoked, man. There's tons of rad bands. I mean, a testament to how awesome they are. Like, we couldn't play shows with Zom from Moncton because they're, like, on tour in Europe right now, like, killing it. And it's just like, that's a band from Moncton that's, like, playing super sludgy stoner, and they're, like, you know, touring across Europe, having, like, awesome shows. So it's like, oh, we got to catch up with those guys, like, in Europe. You know what I mean? Or, like, when we were out west, we played all the shows with Kron Goblin, which, like, amazing stoner band from Calgary. Okay.
Who, like, literally killed it. Like, totally sounds like an Alberta version of, like, Caius. Like, super sick stoner stuff.
That sounds up my alley.
So yeah, like, those dudes, Dead Quiet, like, who are out of Vancouver, like, those guys are killing it right now. So Ancients, like, out of Vancouver too, like, that band's killing it. So there's a lot of really rad stuff that's going on. Oh, Mountain Dust, we played with Mountain Dust in Montreal. That band is, like, beyond sick.
Yeah, one of their guys, I think he's still in the band, Hal, big tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's written for the Mag before.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, key guy in my music journalism upbringing, as we can say.
So stuff like that, like, gets me really stoked. Like, kind of just, like, what's going on in general, like, in Canada right now. Whereas, like, I feel like there are times when we've been, like, searching for bands to tour with, and now I'm like, oh, I just, you know, riffed off a ton of bands I'd love to, like, rip the country with.
So comparing that then, like, where you're putting together a tour package, it's a Bat Sabbath headlining show. I mean, this festival's a little different than, say, the big outdoor fest where it's a bunch of different bands on one stage. But even that said, like, do you relish the opportunity to play these kind of events where, because someone has a pass, because you might be on a bill with bands you're not typically touring with, that you have that chance to play in front of people that may not already be in the palm of your hand, so to speak?
Yeah, I always like that kind of side of festivals, like where people can just come and check out bands, and like they've maybe heard of Cancer Bats or maybe heard of Bat Sabbath, and they're gonna come and just cruise in. Or I'll say selfishly, I really like playing festivals like this because like I got to go see Charlotte Day Wilson last night.
Oh,
you know what I mean? She's not normally playing metal festivals.
Right.
She's not on Heavy Montreal. So it's like I like listening to tons of different stuff. I know the dudes all went and watched like Whoop Zoo play at Gus's Pub. So it's like for us, it's like, oh, we're stoked to go and like check out everything else that's like going down.
Oh, right on. I'll tell you what, I don't want to keep you much longer, but what's the next, say, 6 months look for you guys? Or maybe the better question is, anything on the horizon you want to let people know about, musically speaking, or maybe outside of music?
I guess so. Like, we're slowly like working on new tunes. Everybody's kind of like putting in, like I said, chipping away at it.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of like in no rush. A lot of us have some like really fun like outside projects that we're all working on. Like Scott's recording bands, Jay's doing tons of woodworking. Mikey like moved back to Winnipeg, and him and his wife have a baby, which is like amazing.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing like a clothing brand called Treadwell. That's going super well too. That's like more motorcycle focused.
Yeah.
So I'm also trying to ride as many motorcycles as I can before the year ends. So I'm like, let's not go to the studio yet. Let's not, like, maybe when it's colder.
Nice.
And I can put my dirt bike away.
I've got to think that there's a certain amount of comfort that comes with that, to be able to have enough going on and enough irons in the fire that, you don't rely necessarily on, like, gotta get as many dates in as we can and be too stringent. Like, is this something you...
Yeah, and I feel like that's what keeps this still, like, really fun.
Nice.
Like, obviously, this is something we take super seriously, and it's like, it's our jobs, and we've been doing it for 12 years. But at the same time, like, when it's not just your tunnel focus every day, and you, like, I'll say my other job is riding a motorcycle and selling motorcycle clothing. Like, that's also the funnest thing ever. So when I'm done doing that, I like go to band practice and like play drums with Jay, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so fun, and it's like, that's more like, doesn't feel like work, and like is exciting in the same way that like you would start a band with someone out of that same like pure reason of just being like, let's write tunes that we want to like headbang to.
Right.
So trying to like stay connected to that kind of, and not being like, oh, like, what should we do? Like, this is our 6th record. You're like, we're just gonna have fun. Like, if anything, like doing Bat Sabbath and like Cancer Bats in these last like 2 years has just taught us that like this is so fun, and like just keeping it fun is the most important part, and that's what everyone like gets out of it. Nice. It's like, you don't show up to a show because it's your job or because you feel like you have to. Like, you show up to a show because you want to like let loose and like rip. So I'm like, yeah, we need to like approach our records still. Like, even though it's like year 12 or year 13, it's still need to be doing this because it's like super fun, and like keep that in mind.
Year 12 or 13, congrats, man.
Crazy.
That's awesome. So tonight at the Seahorse, Bat Sabbath, 1 a.m.
Yeah. And then tomorrow, who knows? Anything? Who knows what we're going to do tomorrow? Maybe something's going to happen tomorrow.
Download the HPX app.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be around Quinpool tomorrow. I'm definitely going to go to Pro Skates. And I know there's like a venue right up the street from Pro Skates, so who knows?
For the kids. Halifax Pop Explosion 2017, the 25th edition. Liam Cormier, Cancer Bats, Bat Sabbath. And because we're live, I'm going to do the awkward thing where I stand up to shut the camera off. But I should say, join us again, CMLive, at about 2:15 Atlantic. That's 1:15 Eastern. Scott Hellman's joining us down at the waterfront. Should be time. But thanks, Liam. Appreciate it.
Should be a time.
Said like a true maritimer.
Fucks yeah.
All right.